Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Channel Zero Butcher's Block, Episode 3. It is called All You Ghost Mice. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. Where to begin with this? So, I feel like all the episodes of this one so far have given us 2 or 3 key scenes of really over-the-top, disgusting violence in some way. Whether or not it disgusts you personally is, matter of self.
But they're going out of their way to try.
Yeah. And it, just funny, because we have a scene earlier on, right? So Zoe's claiming to be cured and all that. And we see her in the bath, and she's just kind of, looking really, depressed, and she's ducking under the water. And then Joseph just appears. And he's like, he rattles on for a while. But ultimately, he's like, you'll be better if you eat. You're looking very sickly. You're not eating enough. And I'm like, eat what, I wonder.
Yeah.
Coming from
where's
him.
this going?
And then she sort of bites her arm a little bit. Just in a little sort of playful way, just kind of like, and just sort of pulls at it. And I'm like, where's this going? And then, when later on, Alice comes back and she's lying in bed and she's like, so let me see, what's going on? You're hiding something. He's like, no, it's fine. She pulls it, and there's like a bandage on her leg. And I'm like, holy shit, she ate part of a leg. But I thought, okay, so the idea
It was just the implication.
yeah, the implication of that's pretty gnarly. You don't necessarily have to see it. But later on, she's like asking her, like, tell me the truth, Zoe, tell me the truth. What have you done? And we get a flashback to her actually, still in the bath. She gets a little knife out and she cuts something. And you just see the water, which is very milky. She's got like, lotion in it and stuff, but it starts to turn red. And then she pulls out just a little slither of flesh, and she's just kind of like, and she can tell she's not really excited about it, but she's going to do it anyway. She's like, and she's dangling it into her mouth, and the whole thing is pretty disgusting. I mean, it doesn't overly disgust me in the same way that like the maggots and stuff do. That more hits my.
Yeah, this is it just is intentionally disgusting.
Yeah,
Whether or not you find it that bad or not, it's intentionally, filmed to be disgusting.
It moves the needle a little bit. It doesn't make me go, oh, but it's like, oh, it's a bit uncomfortable. Oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
And it's more uncomfortable because it's her own body, by the way. I feel like it's not as disgusting when it's someone else's meat.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, there's something just extra disgusting about it because it's her own leg. But hey,
yeah, and it's like it's because it's raw as well. I think that's what makes it bad.
Oh yeah,
like,
when
it's cooked, it's like
it's fine.
It's
Yeah.
just meat.
Later on, when Edie Finch, housewife, from the advert, comes in, and she comes in and she's got a platter, and she's like, "Yeah, eat this," and it's obviously going to be human.
Yeah, but it looks pretty good, doesn't it?
It's cooked meat. It looks fine.
Exactly. I'd eat it.
I wouldn't, but doesn't the sight of it doesn't make me revolted.
No, I might if there's a plate of it there. If it looks good.
No context, just someone offers you some human meat, you're just going to go for it.
I mean, just if it's just a random person on the street, yeah, probably not.
Well, so someone offers you some human meat, you're okay with it then?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it that hard. I'm just saying, if a meal looked really nice and then they went, oh, by the way, it's human, I'm like, well, it looks really nice.
I'll let the audience judge you for that. I'm not going to say anymore.
I'm just saying, when I watched Hannibal, for example, those meals looked amazing.
I'm much more a fan of what iZombie does with the brain food than I am with what Hannibal did with its cuisine.
Oh, okay. The brain food's pretty good as well, don't be wrong. I'd eat most of that too.
It's a tone thing. Hannibal was always shot in this really dark, sinister sort of mood, so it never made me hungry.
The food looks so good.
Oh no, it never did to me, because it was always in the dark, tingy atmosphere. Whereas iZombie, no, it's like a cooking show. It's nice and bright, and she's chopping things up, and it's putting it together, and it's like...
No, I know they did cookbooks for Hannibal's meals.
I think they did for iZombie, and obviously they didn't put actual brains in the iZombie, but I think they made like, it's like, oh, this is what she made in this episode, so here's the recipe to do that with some regular meat, or
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Makes some sense. Why not? So no, pride disgusting, and it ultimately boils down to her coming and saying, "Hey, we'll accept you. We want to include you as part of the family. We have way more of this human meat where this comes from." And it ends with her going up the stairs with Joseph. And of course, meanwhile, all through the episode, Alice, she's freaked out at the start because of what happened. And she's getting calls constantly about her student loans. She's not paying her loans, and they're really trying to chase her down. Her social worker boss is trying to track her down because she's not showing up for work. and she's at the hospital with her, and they set up that the hospital's basically empty because everyone's moved to another bigger location. Like, this town's like, it's a ghost town now, so the hospital's shutting down, so there's no one there, which is just a convenient reason to have it be empty and creepy. But I'm not complaining. I'm just, that's why. The highlight of Alice's story, though, is by far the little, the embodiment of the schizophrenia that she thinks is coming for her has grown, and we get a crawling schizophrenia face. I don't know what to call it.
No, because it's kind of got like a body.
It's got like,
but it's just like an outline almost.
It's just like
shadow.
Pitch black. It's got a head, and then it's just like shadow for the body, and the body's it's just four limbs, but it kind of moves like a spider. It's the way it kind of scutters.
It's that first time where I think she's talking to Zoe, and they're in the hospital bed, and you just see it come up behind her, off like the drawers or the shelf or whatever it is behind her. And it's just like, oh man, that's creepy as shit.
It's creepy. I specifically liked how it moved. I think that's my favourite part of it. It felt like it was gunning for her the entire time. Up the stairs as well. That shot down, you're looking down at the stairs.
Yeah, what I really appreciate as well is that the music, it did some creepy stuff when it was on screen, but it didn't do a big jump scare the moment you noticed it. It didn't pop in.
Good, yeah, that's a good point.
And I feel like that's, the really easy thing that gets done all the time, and it's boring. It's just, loud noise, something scared you. Nah, just noticing it is creepier.
Yeah, I've referred to it as the laugh track for horror movies, where they have to have the noise every time something happens. And it's like, no, it's creepier if there's no noise. Don't let people notice it, because when they notice it themselves, it's creepier.
Yeah, I don't mind the music doing something different, something creepy like it did here. That works. Just not a big loud noise to make me jump because there's a loud noise. That's not effective.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So that's good. And then she ultimately chases down Zoe at the end of the episode, sees her go in the door at the top of the stairs, and we actually end the episode with her slowly going up the stairs and just entering the door. We actually we end in the moment of the door shutting behind her. So that's the big cliffhanger getting into the next episode. So, the eating the own flesh, the creepy spider schizophrenia brain face, whatever you want to call it, definitely standouts. But on top of that, so one thing I did like about this episode is it brought, the cop Luke with the old lady and, the social worker guy. They kind of came together and kind of started working together because they're trying to figure things out. Because he's seen that the police are not pursuing this guy. They've let him go. He tries to talk to his dad, ask him questions. His dad just kind of gives him a lot of shit, fobs him off, gives him this story about how, you thought this kid back when you were young, you thought he was stealing our paper, but I'd actually just cancelled the subscription, and you went and beat him up. You jumped ahead of yourself, which is what he's implying that he's doing now. But Robert Peach, Suitman Peach as we were calling him last episode, he shows up to the hospital. In grand fashion, might I add, there's a ridiculously over-the-top scene of him dancing to classical music down the hallway.
There is. It's pretty great.
I'm sure you can name the exact piece, because that's you.
I could when I was watching it, but now I've kind of blanked on it.
You've forgotten, okay. But he's dancing around, and one of my favourite things that the episode kept doing is every so often it would just cut to Rutger Hauer's face in the middle of a scene. When someone's thinking of him, or during this scene it cut to him playing the piano with the little demon baby, and they were playing the piano. But sometimes it would just cut to his face and smiling as someone was thinking about him, and every time it was like, oh, that works. It does.
He's getting power off the thought.
But he dances around, and what I love about Robert Peach is he's so jovial in how evil he is, because he, at one point, he sort of just like dances past the door, because like the cop, the old lady, and the social worker are in the cafeteria, and he just dances past the door, and they all see him, and it's like, who's that? And he like pulls out his gun, he's like, knows who it is, he's ready to go. Yeah. And they're kind of chasing him around, and at one point he has him at gunpoint, and Peach just kind of holds up his hand, makes a little, gun himself, and just says bang, and then starts giggling, and just leaves the scene.
It's terrifying.
It's great. He's got so much energy. It gives it this deranged child play time vibe to it. It works.
It was great. And there was a moment where, obviously, if you follow our other stuff, we've been reading some DC comics. We've been reading Doomsday Clock. And there's a character called Mime, and when he started doing this with his hand, I was like, oh, are they doing that route? Just for a moment.
No, he's just
he's just having some fun.
He called him a mouse a bunch of times. Like we're bringing back that idea, the cat eating the mouse, all the rest of it. But eventually they're chasing him around, and the social worker gets trapped behind a door, and he's trapped on the side with Robert Peach, and the other two, Luke and the old lady are on the other side, and they can't do anything. And Luke goes running to try and get round the other side, but she has to watch as Robert just grabs his head and slits his throat, and you just see the blood squirt onto the glass. And when Luke comes round the other side, now that was a pretty brutal scene. It was really effective because it made you care a little bit about him earlier in the episode, because it kind of implied he had a crush on Alice a little bit, and that's why he's been kind of cutting her some slack. But here you see him just die brutally, and I mean the actual cut's off camera, but it's effective because
you hear it.
You hear it. You see the blood splatter. I think what really sells it's her reaction. It's the horror on her face. It really sells how bad it is. But that's not even the highlight of this whole scene.
No, that's not.
The highlight of the scene. So he's lying there dead. Blood is like pouring from his neck. Luke comes down, and even though Robert's laughing, he kind of willingly does go down on his legs, and he puts his hands behind his back and lies down. And as he's being cuffed, and his head's on the floor, kind of as he's being cuffed, the blood pool coming from the social worker's neck is just running towards him. And when it gets to his face, he just starts licking it off the floor as he's down there.
It's so creepy.
It's a thing of beauty. I don't know.
It is. It's so good that it's so creepy. Like, I forget that we can actually get proper good creepy horror stuff on TV. It's so rare. And
it all kind of builds up because he's been testing Luke so much. Luke's taking him to the precinct, and actually the lady's like, no, take him back to my place because you told me they're not like doing anything with him. Let's go back to mine and we can give our own justice out.
Yeah, we can beat him up.
And he's like, no, I'll go by the book. But Robert keeps testing him. He's in the back seat. He's laughing. He's calling him a mouse. All the rest of it, and he just stops the car and he shoots him. He shoots Robert, and I mean, I don't know if Robert can die because, like, is he human?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same as that. He looks pretty dead there, but I don't know.
Is he just going to pop back up? And then it makes me think about Luke's arc. What's Luke's plot? Because Luke seems to have his own plot separate from his sister, the sisters, in this. And I feel like they're going to turn him into like the new like. But it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of the season he's like just as deranged as Robert, or he's being pressured into something else. Like they're trying to push him to something. They want to make him go crazy in some way.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be interesting because obviously the current trend he's on at the moment is like, okay, he's arcing towards taking over from his father, being the responsible one. Because the last week he didn't believe him about all the stuff in the park, and then this week he's out and investigating it.
Is that why his father is so willing to work for them? Because this happened to him years ago. They put him through all these tests and pushed him until they broke him.
Because he's clearly covering it up. He won't let him see the paperwork for the transfer, and he doesn't. Don't bother filing a report. It's fine. You don't need to. There was a murder in the station. It's fine. These things happen.
And maybe he'll realise that's what they're trying to do, and he will circumvent that at the end, and that'll be the big finale. Is him and maybe the sisters will get out and go on. Like I say. It keeps teetering a little bit close to last season where it's like, she'll have to save her sister, but then it keeps like spreading it back around and saying no, but it's about her fear of mental illness, and it comes back round.
That's it. There's just enough where it's like, okay, the sisters, we've got a disappearing house. There's just these little things where it's like, okay, this is
disappearing staircase. So,
well, all right, fine, but there's a house at the top of it.
There is, but you don't see it. It's invisible.
So it's always disappeared then, I guess.
But it's not disappearing.
Touché. I'll allow it.
Check and mate. Thank you, sir. But no, so I'm digging that, and obviously we sort of come back to that moment where she finds her mother. She sort of sees her mother in front of her at one point as well in the room. One thing I did notice actually when we saw the room where she had a real violent incident in the past when she stabbed Zoe, is that room is completely red. Like they're really playing with this idea of red being an important colour, as a lot of horror and villainous things tend to do. They tend to play with the idea of red being an important colour to like tell us that something's going on. So the idea that she's in the red room, not to confuse it with Twin Peaks discussion. We don't want to do that.
Lots of red talk in that.
Yeah, but I really noticed how the walls were completely red this time. Yeah. So.
No, of course, and to go back to the red in the bathtub, the white is often innocence, purity. And then it gets infected with the red. It takes over. Yeah. You even have that scene, the little flashback to when Zoe presumably first had her break, and the therapist or the doctor is talking to her and try to just talk her through. Okay, this is not a one-time thing. She's going to need this treatment. She's going to need this. She's going to need that. And Alice has done all of her research. She's like, no, like I've looked this up, and there's a 9% chance that if someone in your family has this, I'll get it as well.
But since it's both my mother and my sister, does that add together? Like, you know?
Yeah, it was like 9% for the sister, then 12% for the, or 13% for the mother.
Makes sense,
like,
because your mother's given birth to you, so it gets passed down more likely, I guess.
Yeah. I get why that's more likely.
Yeah. 9%'s not bad odds, though.
No, but it depends. Do you add them together, or do you like multiply them?
I don't think you multiply them.
In some factor though, like okay, is it as simple as just you add them together, but or do they stack on top of each other in a more dramatic way?
It wouldn't surprise me if it's less likely with your mother and your sister, because your sister's already the 9%, so you're technically the other 91%.
That's not how genetics work.
Hey, I'm not. Don't give me this shit. Like,
no, this is basic probability. That's the whole. If you flip a coin 5 times, if it comes up heads four times in a row, the 5th time is not any more likely to be tails. It's still 50-50.
I wasn't being that serious. Like, you just have to.
No. I mean, I take the probability statistics very seriously here.
I do not. I don't care. I literally do not give a shit.
You should.
So I think she's fine. She's got 87% chance she's fine. We're good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if I was going to actually give you a serious answer, I don't think the sister affects it. I think it's just still the base 13 from the parent.
Yeah. No, probably.
That'd be my guess.
No, that makes sense.
But yeah, so no, it's weird. I think I still feel like as an overall episode of a TV show, there's like a focus missing to it. I didn't really feel like there was like a overall kind of not want to say arc, but there wasn't like an overall kind of like theme of this episode where I felt like, it really does kind of feel like the 6 episodes are just like one big story and it's just been chopped up with.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna watch really well as a binge.
Yeah, but there's been little effort, I think, made to actually make each episode feel like a sort of rounded chapter, as opposed to just this is a slice of it.
Which I think is in some ways makes this the weakest season in that aspect, because both the previous seasons did. Every episode felt like, no, that's what this episode was. It was distinctly this thing.
So I'll critique it for that, but I can't deny that I enjoyed all the plots of this episode. They all had their own big moments that really kind of stood out to me. Oh, that was a nice shocking moment, or that was a really creepy moment, or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny that last week we talked about was she named Alice? Alice in Wonderland. Because all the madness, and we spoke about that, and then this week they just brought it up. It was like, yeah. My mother used to read Alice in Wonderland a lot. You didn't like it.
Yeah, because she was worried that was like a sign that she was going crazy because she was called Alice.
Yeah,
she was worried that it all connected, that it was a thematic link she didn't want in her life. No, I don't like that. It's the thing, like. I know that's why Paul W.S. Anderson, and this is a weird thing to bring up, of all things, he named his character Alice in the Resident Evil movies. Not a character from the games, might I add. This is someone he added in because he's, we can't base the characters on the games because people will know how it ends. Like, oh yeah, because every book adaptation ever has had that problem. Anyway. But it's like, it's Alice because of Alice in Wonderland, and that, there's this thematic links, and I'm like, oh, shut up, you pompous prick.
No, in that sense, I do feel like this might have been better left unsaid, because it's like it does feel a little on the nose for the character to have been afraid of that before things happened because of her name.
That's fair. I guess, Channel Zero's never been subtle. I guess it's always been.
No, it hasn't. I get like why the link is there now, and as an adult, where she's gone through this with her family. But as a child, that story, I feel like, okay, that's stretching a bit. I get it as a thematic link for the viewer, as, okay, this is why she's called Alice. But a bit on the nose for me.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess that wraps up Channel Zero Episode 3. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?